Welcome back into the Sean podcast. It's the Big Ush. It's the Cat Daddy. Fumbled a little bit because, the weekend was a little meh. Cat Daddy, tell him what's on your mind.
Man, this past weekend we saw some good. We saw some bad. We saw some ugly. Oh, man.
Well, getting right into it, let's talk about some good and ugly. The Thursday night game, the Colts look really good. The Jets look really ugly, especially when Mike White went out. Now, to me, it looked like he could play on the sidelines. And yes, I put out there the idea. You wonder if they held him out because he was playing too well. Ruining the confidence and psyche of Mrs. Zach Wilson. I'm not saying the boy's soft, but it's interesting to me. Any thoughts on this, Sean?
I'm very surprised the Jets put up 30 points against the Colts. That was very surprising for me. We saw rookie Elijah Moore step up and play when they had no other wide receivers, scored multiple touchdowns, so that was good for him. Indianapolis ran wild, literally. You had Jonathan Taylor, Naheem Hines. They both had pretty big days. It was a pretty good Thursday night football game considering who the Jets were starting at quarterback. But it was closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, garbage. It was all garbage. Anyways, moving on. Getting it out of the way. The Broncos went into AT&T Stadium. Put a whooping on my Cowboys. And the only thing to say here is, I don't know if they came out feeling themselves a little much because they won with a backup, or if this is one of those mid-season lows that happens to teams, or the fact that Dak Prescott hadn't played in like 3 weeks and they just came out flat. Dak didn't look good. Receivers were dropping passes. The offensive line had issues. The defense couldn't tackle. 14 missed tackles. This team did not come ready to play. Or maybe it's because Mike McCarthy had them not practice on Wednesday to give them a little extra rest because of the Sunday night game. It could be one of numerous things.
So you're saying he may have underrated the Broncos?
Not that they underrated the Broncos. I think that they had poor process. That, it's all about the process. I will say this, I do not think they will put forward a performance like this the rest of the year.
I was thinking, what happened to Dallas? Denver comes to Dallas. Denver wins the clock battle, 42 minutes to about 18 minutes. The final score, which was 30-16, makes the game appear closer than it really was because Dallas fell behind 30-0, and they didn't score until there was just a little bit over 4 minutes left in the game. They were horrible on third downs. You had 5 of 13. They were 0 for 4 on fourth downs. It looked like Denver just tried to eliminate Zeke from this game, minimizing any impact he had, and all of this was done with a Von Miller-less defense. This is like what I was thinking during the game was maybe Dallas should have played Cooper Rush instead of Dak Prescott. But then I thought maybe it was Cooper Rush wearing Dak Prescott's jersey. I don't know.
See, I don't think it would have mattered. What's Cooper Rush going to do? How does Cooper Rush fix the drops?
The Denver secondary was playing really well, so it didn't matter who was back there for Dallas.
No, you're not understanding.
Oh, I get it.
Literally,
Jack throws, they drop them.
In the hand drop. And these are on third down, key third downs, fourth downs. How's Cooper Rush going to fix getting a block punt in Denver territory and then the Cowboy player touching the ball past the line of scrimmage and Denver getting the ball again? This game was pure Murphy's Law. anything that could go wrong went wrong for the Cowboys. The only upside is I don't think Dak had a turnover. So there's that.
Unless you count the turnover
said-
on downs, those wouldn't count against
Well,
them.
yeah, but I mean, literally, I'm talking about in the stat sheet. You know, there's no interceptions from him, no fumbles. I'm just saying, the Falcons better watch out because I think they're going to come out angry.
Very angry.
All right, next up, the Browns went into into Cincinnati and put a whooping on those Bengals. And this is weird, man. Like, the Bengals look really good against teams like Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and then they let the Browns beat them 41-16. What's going on?
The Bengals have shown us that they can win big ball games. They just can't win them on a consistent basis. And I think that's where the problem is. They'll show you the flashes, but it's not going to be a consistent winning against better teams. I mean, Cleveland did have Baker Mayfield back. They had a Nick Chubb back, so their offense was doing pretty well. I mean, we're thinking actually the Browns, who failed to move Odell Beckham Jr. at the trade deadline, showed they really weren't missing him in this one. In fact, they played better without Odell Beckham Jr.
Now, all right, I'm not even going to go too hard on that. You know, sometimes, you know, addition by subtraction. Maybe Baker felt a little too much pressure to show that he could get the ball to Odell. I don't know. It's just, I think the storyline here is more Cincy not living up to potential than the Browns, like, showing they're better than their people think they are. Next up, we have the Texans going to Miami to face the Dolphins. Dolphins win 17-9. That's all I got to say about that.
Nominee for worst game of the year? Maybe.
Maybe. No, maybe. I think that's coming up later. All right, next game. An actual exciting game. The Falcons go down to New Orleans, beat the Saints 27-25 with a last-minute field goal that no one saw coming. This Cordero Patterson thing. Hey. Sean, any thoughts on this one?
I know this is more fantasy related than real life, but I definitely undervalued Cordell and Patterson's impact in the Atlanta offense. I didn't know, or I didn't think that Arthur Smith would be able to use him as well or as creatively as he has been this entire year, because this is like career resurgence. He's back.
Resurgence. This is career defining.
Yeah. So he's doing phenomenal things. I underrated him in fantasy purposes. He's shown very valuable in real life too. Those two do not often correlate together, but he's making Atlanta's offense look good. No, what do you say?
So someone asked him about playing running back, wide receiver, and returning kicks. He said, if my mom can work 3 jobs to help me get through life, I can play 3 positions in playing football.
Hey, good man. Good man. Love the attitude. In this one, I did not expect the game to be this close. It's becoming very clear that Sean Payton does not view Taysom Hill as a full-time starting caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Who did?
He's a fun gadget player, nothing more.
No, honestly. Like, Sean Payton was the only one anybody thought that... No, we're not even going to linger on this.
You roll with Trevor Siemian over a medically cleared Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
That's how much faith he has in Taysom Hill as a starting caliber quarterback that he starts Trevor Siemian over him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
All right, moving on. One of the surprises of the week, and we had a couple. The Raiders go to East Rutherford, get beat by those New York Giants, 23-16. Giants didn't look that bad. Raiders didn't look that good either. The Raiders coming back down to earth. I mean, they got problems. They got problems, and I'm not talking about football problems. They got problems.
Yeah, they've had several. How do I describe it? They've had several big impacts to their locker room over the past what's been month, and it's only a matter of time until it really starts to take a toll on the team.
All right, next up, Patriots go to Carolina, smash those Carolina Panthers. Now, Stephon Gilmore did get a little bit of revenge. He got a interception. I like the interception that Sam Darnold threw actually better. There's a reason for that, but hey. I think we have a full revert to the mean for Sam Darnold. Or regress to the mean. He is who we thought he was. He's not good. The Panthers are in a pickle now because they passed on Justin Fields. And we'll talk about Justin Fields later. They passed on Mac Jones, who they played in this game, who did not play particularly great, but played well enough. He played better than the quarterback you had. They gave up Teddy Bridgewater, which we already noted smashed the Dallas Cowboys. So, kudos to you, Carolina. We'll clap for you for taking a quarterback that wasn't good and trusting him.
It's actually been tough watching Sam Darnold struggle and regress to the mean because you're thinking when he left New York, like I was happy he left New York. He went to Carolina. Man, this is the opportunity to turn your career around, to show everybody that it wasn't you necessarily, it was the system that you were in, it's the people around you, the coaching staff. And for the first couple of weeks, man, it was looking good for him. It was looking really good. But what have we seen the past, 5-6 weeks? We've seen previous Sam Darnold show up. And at this point, it has to be official that Sam Darnold is not the answer for Carolina.
Toast.
He got a little banged up in this game, so his status for the upcoming week may be a little questionable. I think they were looking into signing Matt Barkley to help fill a roster spot just in case Sam Darnold can't go, but you're really looking at former XFL star. Is it XFL or AFL? Yeah, whichever. PJ Walker. Looking at PJ Walker. So it's going to be really tough for Carolina, especially if they're looking to make a push to the playoffs. I think one thing is absolutely for certain, in that Bill Belichick owns Sam Darnold. I don't think there's any question about that one. The Patriots were just capitalizing on Carolina's mistakes all day. They used a nice three-headed rushing attack against that Carolina defense. And I was surprised how well the Patriots ran against Carolina, considering how good Carolina's defense is or should have been.
No, I don't agree with that.
You don't?
No, because Cowboys ran hard on them too. Carolina's defense is very solid against bad offenses. New England's a really good running team, and it makes sense why. All right, moving on though to the worst game of the week. This is literally the worst game of the week. It's the most surprising game of the week. Everybody thought that Cowboys was the most surprising game. Nope. One of the reasons why I feel not too bad this week, because Buffalo Bills went into Jacksonville and laid an egg. the score, and I'm telling you guys, this is not a baseball score. It is 9-6. Jacksonville beat Buffalo 9-6. I mean, what? I'm all for defense. I'm a defensive guy, but this is nonsense.
It wasn't defense. I mean, there was defense. There was good defense, but this is just a horrible display by both offenses. It would be different if both offenses played well or efficient, and it became a defensive battle, but the offenses played horribly. It was really a tale of two Josh Allens. On Buffalo side, you had the quarterback who threw 47 passes, and he absorbed 4 sacks. Why was Josh Allen dropping back 51 times against the Jaguars and you're only getting 6 points?
How is that possible that anyone did that?
The reason is they only had 14 run plays. 5 of those belonged to Josh Allen. They didn't run the ball. They don't have any confidence in their running game.
But regardless, you drop back 40. I mean, you should score more than 6 points if you're throwing the ball 47 times.
Yes, but that's where the other Josh Allen comes in. Because Josh Allen sacked Josh Allen. Josh Allen intercepted Josh Allen. And Josh Allen recovered Josh Allen's fumble.
I get that. It's just, I don't know.
Jacksonville did to Buffalo what Buffalo did to Kansas City. It's that cover 2 shell, which is putting 2 defensive backs over the top, so you eliminate any deep shot. At that point, you're forcing the quarterback to be patient. You're forcing them to take the underneath throws.
Josh didn't want to be
But
patient.
just like Patrick Mahomes, it's challenging for Josh Allen as well because they don't want to take those underneath throws. They play in a very aggressive offense where they take the deep shots. This cover 2 shell prevents the aggressive offenses from taking those deep shots. And it worked because Buffalo only scored 6 points, which is atrocious. It's horrible.
Yeah. All right, up next, Minnesota goes to Baltimore. And then another down to the wire game. The Minnesota Vikings lose again. 34-31 to Baltimore. And, man, I feel for Minnesota, man. These games have to be taking a toll on them. I think every single game this year has been decided by fewer than 7 points.
I think it's most of their games, I think, have been one possession. I think there may have been one game, which was, I think it was like, I forgot what game it was. I think only one game was not a one possession game. But Minnesota is just not winning their close games.
That was actually one of their wins. That's the one that's not a one possession game. It was against Seattle. All of their losses has been either 7 points or less.
The problem I have with this game, you're Minnesota. You're on the road in Baltimore. You're up 24-10 in the third quarter. You give up 21 consecutive points. Now you're trailing by 7. You have about 3.5 minutes left in the game. You drive the length of the field. You score a touchdown. Now it's a 31-30 ball game. Now it's decision time. Do you try for 2 and go for the win knowing that your defense is exhausted and has not been stopping Baltimore because you've been chasing Lamar Jackson around the field? And you've got 3 what I want to consider really good red zone options if you're going to draw up a 2-point play. Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. One of those guys can get the job done. Or do you kick the point after attempt and you play for overtime knowing that your defense may not be able to play as well? If I were Mike Zimmer, I would have tried going for 2. I would not want my team going to overtime.
No, but here's the thing. Their strategy in that at the end of the game, I didn't disagree with. All right, so I did pay attention to this game because of fantasy reasons. I have Dalvin Cook. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if they thought he was injured. I don't think there was. I didn't hear any reports. But there was a period of time when that 21 points that was happening where they didn't run Dalvin Cook. Trust me, I was looking. I didn't see the point meter change. I was looking for Dalvin Cook. I didn't see it. So here's the thing: if your star running back's healthy, you run him when you're up with the league. And then on top of that, in overtime they had a chance. Anthony Barr gets the interception, and then they go to run Dalvin Cook, and they run a freaking stretch play to the short side of the field. What are you doing? And that was on second down. They passed it on first, ran a stretch on second, and now you're in third and long. Poor play selection is probably what did this game in.
Probably. I mean, Dalvin Cook, as far as the stat line goes, 17 carries for 110 yards. He was popping off big carries.
You know, and before the game was like, we're going to ride Dalvin. My butt you are.
Maybe they had a cap.
Anyway,
maybe like, we'll ride him to 100 yards and then we'll stop.
Moving on. We have the LA Chargers going to Philly. Face those Eagles, and this was more of a game than I thought it was going to be. But the Chargers come out victorious, 27-24. You got anything for this game, Sean?
Extremely surprised at how close Philadelphia kept this game. It was, I think Philadelphia's winning or leading as they were going into the fourth quarter. And we're trying to think, well, how did the Eagles' offense look? Jalen Hurts was efficient passing the ball, 11 of 17, 162 yards, had himself a touchdown. But where Philadelphia did a lot of their damage was on the grounds. I mean, Jalen Hurts accounted for 62 of those yards. Jordan Howard, out of nowhere, out of the practice squad, comes up, puts up 71 yards, a touchdown on him.
So, I mean, here's the thing. I think the Eagles are going to need to think about developing Jalen Hurts further. He's done everything he's been asked, and he's not the problem on this team, in my opinion. Now, no, he's not anything special. He hasn't looked special, but he's not been bad.
I find it interesting that Jordan Howard got 17 carries. If this were Miles Sanders in the game, how many carries would Miles Sanders have gotten?
True.
Not 17.
All right, next up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals traveling to San Francisco. No Kyler Murray. No DeAndre Hopkins.
No problem.
No problem. They beat down the San Francisco 49ers 31-17, and just like the Cowboys game, that wasn't an indicative of the score. Any big thoughts from this game, Sean?
The biggest thought that I have is, where's Trey Lance?
What's that?
Where's Trey Lance?
Oh, well, there's that. I have a thought.
That's my
it goes
biggest.
towards another team. Pittsburgh. Maybe you should have kept this guy named James Conner around, and maybe drafted some offensive linemen. Just a thought. You know, team building, but hey, you know. All right, next up, we have the Green Bay Packers traveling to Kansas City. No Aaron Rodgers. And let me get some thoughts out on this before you go off.
Go ahead. Take your time.
First of all, I've been hearing Green Bay fans who are unhappy with the defense. I have no clue who these people are, but these people are insane and need to get checked to see if they know anything about football. You hold KC to 13 points, you should be happy.
I think the part where they get those feelings of the defense to do anything, the defense could have done better, is this is the first game all season where Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown an interception. So I guess the expectation for them coming into this game was, well, they have to get at least one interception on Kansas City, right? In fact, I don't even think Kansas City turned the ball over at all. Congratulations to them. And
13 points.
I know. But you're thinking, hey, if they would have gotten that turnover, man, this game would have been changed. This game would have been different.
Okay, they get the turnover and they score 30. Which would you rather?
Wait. How many points did Green Bay score in this scenario?
All right, Green Bay scores 17.
Yeah.
They get 2 more scores from 1 turnover. Get out of here with that nonsense. My other thing is, all right, Jordan Love wasn't great. But I think I have a problem with LaFleur here. And you can correct me if I'm wrong when you go on. But it almost seemed like he was trying to do the Aaron Rodgers game plan with Jordan Love. And Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we're not confusing him with that. Even if people believed he had Aaron Rodgers' potential, he's not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been in the league how long? He's been in with these players how long? You cannot expect the same level of chemistry. And that's the thing. I've seen plays and throws being made where it looked like they were expecting the same level of chemistry that Aaron Rodgers has with these players for Jordan Love, and it was never going to happen. So I almost think this kid was set up to fail. You tell me.
I think LaFleur was trying to keep the offense consistent with its identity and their game plan, regardless of who his quarterback. Now the difference is Matt LaFleur had to call the plays very carefully for Jordan Love. Because when you have Aaron Rodgers in there, Aaron Rodgers can check out, he can audible, he can change at the line of scrimmage based on what he sees. Jordan Love hasn't developed that ability yet. I'm not even sure he did much of that in college, let alone the pro game. He just doesn't have that ability to him. And that's the big difference, because a couple of those plays, Aaron Rodgers would have called a timeout. He would have burned a timeout perfectly fine. He would have called a run play to the opposite side. He would have changed a pass play. He would have made those changes. That's the big difference.
No, but even with that, there were times I was looking, and Davante Adams is seeing the play this way, and Jordan Love is seeing the play another way. Mm-hmm. And that's chemistry. That's something that you can't build with 1 week of practice.
Well, all right. Well, here I go.
Go ahead.
This Packer team is in trouble if and when Jordan Love takes over as full-time starter. And I'm not saying this because the Packers lost. Forget the scoreboard. Forget Mason Crosby's 2 missed field goals. Forget the fact that the Packers weren't creating turnovers on defense against a team that has been cursed with creating turnovers this year. I'm saying this because he didn't look good. Yes, I understand. It was his first NFL start. However, I think this part's really important. He has been in the NFL for 1.5 seasons. He's been practicing against NFL talent for 1.5 seasons. He's preparing for this opportunity for 1.5 seasons.
That means nothing.
This was a great opportunity for Jordan Love to show he was a future. An offense that was getting Davante Adams back, going up against one of the worst defenses in the league. I mean, there really was no better situation that Jordan Love could have put himself in or have been put in. What did we
see? I disagree.
You disagree with that?
I, I disagree. First of all, that defense has actually been better the last couple weeks. Your
Mm-hmm.
your your
They're still one of the worst defenses.
yeah, because of earlier in this year. They've actually been a lot better recently. And just like Justin Fields, I'm using the Justin Fields argument here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying LaFleur did not put Jordan Love in position to be successful.
I
You say,
disagree.
okay, he's been in the league a year. He's been in the a year and a half. Behind Aaron Rodgers. How much?
Who took all the first team reps this offseason? Who took every single first team rep?
Okay, it's still not the same. It's still not okay. So okay, he took it in the off season, and then Aaron comes back, and the team gets into the groove with Aaron. I mean, they talk about this all the time. While you get false starts when another quarterback comes in, because it's a different cadence. The team's on a different level. When you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, I mean, here's the thing: if you had a quarterback that wasn't as good, or wasn't as let's say, Aaron Rodgers has total command of the offense. If we're talking, let's look at another team here. Let's say it's 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. If we're talking about that, and he comes in, and it's, I would be more on board, because Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have that same command as Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I see it a little differently, but you could be right.
There's going to be
But, I
difference
mean,
in chemistry. There's absolutely going to be that difference in the chemistry and the command of the offense. But what did we see from Jordan Love? We saw a bad read. We saw poor footwork. We saw some bad mechanics. And all of that resulted in bad throws. And we saw miscommunication. It took nearly three
lot of
full quarters
miscommunication.
of play until we saw Jordan Love get comfortable with the offense. Even then, it wasn't
And that
looking
happens.
good.
And I mean, that happens with young quarterbacks. Now, the one thing I will say, I will agree. We did see a lot of poor throws. We saw some really nice throws too. The one thing I would say, in comparison to other players that I've seen that are young, he has let's say, what am I gonna say? He needs to calm down, because he threw up some passes that were like, whoa, you have zero fear, bud. But at the same time, where are the screen passes? Where are the quick slants? Where are the easy throws?
You're comparing Jordan Love to this year's rookie class that is just getting through their halfway point. All of the quarterbacks that were drafted before Jordan Love have performed much better, and that includes Tua. Now, I say the Packers are in trouble because with Jordan Love, and it's what I thought when the Packers drafted him, it's beginning to look more like he's a project quarterback. And he was not
And that's
worth
fair.
the first-round investment the Packers paid when they drafted him. And something to keep in mind is it looks worse when you remember the fact that Green Bay traded up to draft Jordan Love, and that makes it a lot worse.
I'm just saying, like, you can't base everything off of one game.
I get that.
And also
I
with
get
it,
that.
you bring up these other quarterbacks. What do these other quarterbacks have? They have way more experience in there. Now, note, a lot of them were drafted earlier. So, yeah, they should be better.
Should be better.
I mean,
How I remember the draft is the team with the worst record gets the first pick. So ideally, you're thinking the team with the less talent has a higher pick. So these quarterbacks are going to teams with lesser talent.
There's only one QB out of that whole situation that you can even mention. Also, just to state, you're a Packers fan.
I know.
Don't give me that nonsense about having lesser talent.
No.
Packers fans
The
complain
higher draft
every
pick is
year.
when Joe Burrow would had lesser
Right,
talent
right.
going to Cincinnati. compared
Right.
to
But at
Green
the
Bay.
same time,
Jordan Love has more
actually, I
talent
don't
around
think
him.
Cincinnati has lesser talent.
During Joe Burrow's rookie season?
No. The reason why the Packers are always drafting them later is because of one name.
Yeah.
What's his name?
That name that they sorely missed this weekend because of that name. If number 12 had been the lineup, this would have been a 2-score game in Green Bay's favor.
I'm not going to disagree with you
Any
there.
receiving option for the Green Bay Packers is looking forward to number 12 being behind center next week. And
I'm not going to disagree with you
if
there.
I'm Davante Adams, because I saw a couple times where Davante looked visibly frustrated with Jordan Love. My first impression of all of this is
going to.
If number 12 is not in town next year, I wouldn't expect number 17 to be there either.
But see, Sean, you're not understanding the situation. We're not talking about Philly here, where they went from Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts. We're going from a Hall of Famer to a guy who's never started a single game.
We're going from a Hall of Famer to a project quarterback that the Packers traded up in the first round to pick, which I completely disagreed with last year, and I still disagree with it. He didn't show me anything in this game that makes me feel any better about their moving up to draft him. They are essentially ruining the franchise. And I mean, ruining may be an over-exaggeration, but they're ruining the franchise with one move. You traded up for Jordan Love. You have Aaron Rodgers playing in his prime, and now you're creating the dissension between your star player and your management. And now it just carries over.
But for me, there's a difference between what they did, because I agree there, and Jordan Love. I'm separating that, and I haven't seen enough to say that he's never going to be good.
I didn't say he's never going to be good. I said they're in trouble if they're thinking that Jordan Love. But the idea is,
he's not going to be good.
You take and again, I'm gonna keep bringing this up because it just has to emphasize the point. When you're trading up for Jordan Love in the first round, you have Aaron Rodgers playing your prime. You are essentially putting a clock on Aaron Rodgers' career in Green Bay. When you're doing that, you need to make absolutely sure that next quarterback, in this case, Jordan Love, is a smooth transition. Rodgers to Love. It was
never going to be.
When you're drafting a quarterback in round 1, that's what it's got to be. It has to be that. When you're giving up draft capital, when you're giving up as much as they did to get this player, you have to make sure that it is a smooth transition.
I get what you're saying, but
he
was never supposed to start this game.
This did nothing to comfort me in thinking that Green Bay made the right decision.
You're not supposed to be comforted because he was never supposed to start this game.
He wasn't.
He was never supposed to play this year.
He was supposed to hold the clipboard. He was supposed to come out and take a couple of knees at the end of the game when Aaron Rodgers I did my job. We're up by 50 points. Come on in, kid. That's what it was supposed to be. Absolutely. But he was not ready for the opportunity.
He probably wasn't supposed to play next year.
Well, he's got no chance. He's got no choice. He's got to.
The initial plan was probably to do the same plan that they did when they drafted Aaron Rodgers.
It's different scenarios because when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, he had fallen to them at number 25. They didn't have to trade up and get him. They just sat still. They let him come to them, and then they're sitting there thinking, we got Brett Favre, who's been threatening retirement for a couple of years. So now we got a plan. We got to take plan B, and if Aaron Rodgers is the best person on our board, he falls to us, let's take him. Different than trading up for Jordan Love.
Again, the process I'm not defending. I'm just saying the player I don't think was supposed to ever play this year.
Well, he's got to be ready to play. He's the only other quarterback on the active roster next year, outside of Blake Bortles, who they just brought back in. But when you're the number 2, you got to be ready.
What happens this weekend?
Look at Willie Steeman. He got to be ready to come in, right?
Steeman, Beeman. You want to talk about that? Didn't he say in the movie he had been in the NFL for 3 years? Not 1, 3.
Yeah, but he's a number 3 quarterback.
Charts. That's what he said.
He's a number 3 quarterback. You got to be ready to come in. But before we move on I do want to give my WTF moment for this game.
Oh no, mine's coming up to the last game, but go ahead.
Jordan Love's first NFL start, right? Regardless of how he played, how we think about that. The WTF moment is the Kansas City Chiefs put Jordan Love's mother in the nosebleeds, literally the very last row of the stadium for her son's first NFL start.
Yeah,
That's cold. It doesn't matter how much you like or dislike Jordan Love. That's a cold move.
and you're gonna find out this next game because you know Rodgers is gonna be out another game. Anyways, Sunday night
Should
football.
be back. Hopefully.
The earliest he can get back is Saturday.
That's all he needs.
Yeah, sure.
Wait, you think Aaron Rodgers needs more than that?
We talking about practice.
Talk about practice.
Tennessee goes into LA to face those Rams and beat down them Rams 28-16. No Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard. No Derrick Henry. No problem. They just switched up their offensive scheme and, just keep it trucking. Jeffrey Simmons has the game of his career. And, those Rams, rude awakening. Any thoughts on this one, Sean?
Oh, man, that was a very rude awakening for the Rams. I wasn't sure what to expect with this Tennessee offense coming into Sunday night because you're thinking, man, they lost arguably the best running back in football, who was a clearer focal point of their offense. But the Titans as a team showed up, especially on defense. Now, fortunately for them, the Rams were very stubborn in the first half, and they refused to make any of the necessary adjustments. It wasn't until the second half when they got rolling, but by that point it was too little too late. And the Rams were very undisciplined in this game. They had, 12 penalties for 115 yards. I mean, some of those were horrible calls, which I'm surprised we actually haven't even talked about horrible calls yet. And this episode is coming up. Okay, but the one that stands out to me is the Aaron Donald roughing the passer, where he just put two hands on Tannehill, and Tannehill's momentum carries him out of bounds, and it made it look much worse, and he gets flagged for roughing the passer penalty. That was ridiculous.
All right, so I'm just going to move off this, and we're going to get to it. Monday Night Football. Chicago goes into Pittsburgh. Give the Pittsburgh Steelers all they can handle. Pittsburgh wins with a last-second field goal, 29-27. You want to know what my WTF moment is?
Is it the is the one with Marsh?
Mm-hmm. So you can accidentally bump into a ref, and all of a sudden that's a flag?
Well, the ref was trying to justify it as he was going to be calling the taunting on him anyways.
Lie.
And it wasn't like Marsh ran into the ref. It almost looks like the ref
butt checked him.
Backed up in the Marsh. So how bogus is that?
Butt checked him. And Marsh, whoa, bud. Calm down. I don't want to touch your butt.
Marsh had no way of avoiding him, so he just ended up running into him. The flag
Marsh
goes
needs
up.
to claim sexual harassment on that.
Oh, but this is another game where you're thinking one team failed to make the necessary adjustments early enough, because we saw Justin Fields show up in this game.
Don't give me that. Here's the thing. You just explained Aaron Donald roughing the passer. Did you see the one in this one? Explain to me what roughing the passer is. Because Justin Fields got killed, and there was no roughing the passer, and Aaron Donald touches him with a fingernail.
Yeah.
And there's roughing the passer.
Weekend, there were some really horrible calls, and there wasn't consistency. It was bad. Another bad week of NFL refereeing. But
is that every week?
Seems to be. It really does.
All right. Moving on. That is the end of this one, because we got to wrap it up. We got a little passionate there. for the Packers game.
Sure did.
All right. Sean, words of wisdom.
Ooh, words of wisdom are going to
Be nice.
Oh, okay. Words of wisdom that are going to be, start cooking your food at home. I just heard a story, and this happened like weeks ago, where someone was going to like McDonald's. They were not happy with how fast McDonald's was serving the food. So the person goes behind the counter to the person at the fry thing and punches them. And I'm like, you know what?
Well then.
If you'd be making your own food at home, not relying on the fast food, you wouldn't have this issue. So make your food at home. Probably going to be healthier. You have nobody to blame but yourself.
True. Now I'm going to go the other direction. This is the perfect time to go to the theater to see movies. People aren't going. Movie theaters aren't packed. You can pretty much sit wherever you want. It's awesome.